Here we will see creating, modifying and deleting non-clustered index in SQL Server. Before creating non-clustered index, first we'll create a table employee details with fields employee ID, passport number and expiry date, and we'll insert records in this table. Then we'll display all the records from employee details using select star from employee details. Now I'll create non-clustered index using transact SQL. General syntax for creating non-clustered index is create non-clustered index with index name on table name and columns, where index name specifies the name that you want to give to the index, table name specifies the table name on which you are going to create index, and column name specifies the columns that will be indexed on this table. For example, create non-clustered index employee passport on the table employee details with field passport number, and when we see, it will create a non-clustered index for the employee details as employee passport, and when we give select star from employee details, it will display the records as we have inserted. Since the non-clustered index does not sort the rows physically, instead it creates a separate key value structure from the table data. We can create a non-clustered index using SQL Server Management Studio also. For this, first open the SQL Server Management Studio and connect to the database. In Object Explorer, expand the table where you want to create a clustered index. Then right click on the indexes folder and point to a new index and select non-clustered index. Then in the new index dialog box on general page, enter the name of the index under the index name and click on add button under the index key columns, and in the select columns from the table name dialog box, select the checkboxes for the columns that you are going to add for the clustered index. Then click on OK and save the table. Next we'll see modify index. To add, remove or change the position of an index column, you must drop and recreate the index. However, you can set several options on the index using alter index statement. For example, alter index employee passport on employee details and set ignore duplicate key equal to on. We can modify the index using SQL Server Management Studio also. For this, first open the SQL Server Management Studio, connect to the database. In Object Explorer, expand the table for which you want to modify the index, and expand the index folder and right click on the index that you want to modify, and from this click on properties. In the index property dialog box under general tab, make the desired changes like adding, removing columns from the index key or change the setting of an index option. If you want to add new index, click on add, and if you want to remove the index, click on remove. We can delete the index also. For this, we will use drop index statement. General syntax is drop index name on table name. For example, drop index employee passport on employee details. This command will delete the non-clustered index employee passport on the employee detail table. We can delete the index using SQL Server Management Studio also. For this, open the SQL Server Management Studio, connect to the database. From Object Explorer, expand the table for which you want to delete the index, expand the index folder and right click on the index that you want to delete, and then select delete from the context menu. We can delete the index using table designer also. For this, open the Object Explorer. From the SQL Server Management Studio, right click on the table from which you want to delete the index and click on design, and on the table designer menu, click on indexes and keys option. In the index and key dialog box, select the index that you want to delete. Now we'll create this non-clustered index in SQL Server. First we'll use the database project 1, under which we are going to create a table, and for that table we are going to create non-clustered index. First we'll create a table employee details with fields employee ID, passport number and expiry date. It will create an employee details table under the database project 1. We will refresh it. It will show employee details table. Then we'll insert the records in this table and we'll display data from this employee detail table using select. So select star from employee details. It will display all the data from employee details table. Now I'll create non-clustered index for this employee details. So we'll use create non-clustered index employee passport on employee details for the field passport number, and when we execute, it will create a non-clustered index for the employee detail table. To check it, expand the employee details and under indexes you will see employee passport non-clustered index. You will see employee passport non-clustered index, and if we again use select star from employee details, it will not sort the data physically. Now I'll create the non-clustered index using SQL Server Management Studio. For this, first select the table, then right click on indexes, select new index and non-clustered index. Give the name to the non-clustered index as employee passport and click on add. Select the field passport number and click on OK. It will create an index key for the passport number field and click on OK. It will create a non-clustered index employee passport for the table employee details. Then we'll see modifying the non-clustered index using SQL Server Management Studio. For this, right click for the indexes, then select properties. And from here you can add new index or you can remove the existing index from the table. If I remove here, it will remove the index from the table. If I cancel, the index will remain as it is. And we can delete the non-clustered index. For this also, select the index and click on delete and select OK. It will remove the non-clustered index from the employee details table.